Evening everybody, Silverbolt here, back for another Transformers review. Now, a couple of things I'll mention first. One, the camera angle is obviously very, very different. My room is now finished being decorated for the most part. The only thing that's really left to do is some work needs to be done on the carpets. But in the process, my room has also been rearranged completely. And so now my webcam, which was before right in front of me, is now positioned at an angle with the PC monitor next to it. So I've got webcam here, PC monitor here, and I'll probably end up, hopefully not too much though, looking at the camera screen to see what I'm doing instead of actually talking to the camera, which is what I should be doing. Secondly, this is just going to be a review of Grimlock. I do have the other 4 Dinobots, and I do intend to do a review of the other 4 Dinobots. But Grimlock gets his own video, the same reason the Starscream got his own video, because he's such a big character. Grimlock has 2 comic entrants into the Transformers universe, depending on whether you're watching the comic or whether you're reading the comic or watching the cartoon. In the cartoon, he's created by Wheeljack along with Sludge and Snarl. And he's created to give the Autobots some muscle, because of course in Series 1, the Autobots regularly get their tailpipes kicked in by the Decepticons, because they're not fighters. The Dinobots are created to be fighters, and Grimlock especially epitomises the phrase of all brawn and no brain. He's very stupid. All he really wants to do is fight, but he's a brute. He is a brute. He has somewhat resembling a warrior's code of honour, but very much so it's all along the cases of let's smash. In the comics, Grimlock's entrance is substantially different. In the Marvel comics, he actually ends up going to the Savage Land, and which is why he's a T-Rex. In the cartoon, he's credited to be a T-Rex because of the power of the dinosaurs when they unearthed the fossil chamber. In the comics, he's credited as a T-Rex because he's on the Savage Land trying to stop Shockwave. Why Wheeljack decided to make them stupid, I don't know. Because it's not just a Grimlock character trait, it's another Dinobot. It's the other Dinobots as well. I don't know why Wheeljack decided to make them stupid. I think what they actually seem to halfway explain in the cartoon is that they wanted to make them quickly, so they didn't make them smart. The smartness was supposed to be added at a later date. It never happened apart from one episode. Throughout season 1 and 2, Grimlock tends to be very much the I'm going to do whatever I want and bugger the rest of you if you don't like it. And this leads him to several run-ins with Optimus Prime, including 2 memorable episodes where where Grimlock basically rebels, tells Optimus Prime where he can stick it, and decides he's going to head off on his own. The episode always ends with the Dinobots coming back and Grimlock realising, hang on, they are the good guys and the right guys to work for. And it's this streak of stubbornness that has endeared Grimlock to the fans. And it's why they've been he's one of the most popular characters. Throughout season 1 and 2, he is regarded as this lumbering brute that the Autobots bring in when they really need to kick some Decepticon keister. Grimlock in Series 3 was greeted with outrage by the fans. For the simple fact that he goes from being this lumbering monster of destruction that beats the living snot out of everything into this joke. He becomes the buffoon. You know, his brute strength is gone, and all that's left is this stupid, stumbling Dinobot that's just a running joke. I mean, in one episode, he's actually wearing an apron. And I think he's actually making cookies. But for some reason, he also gets entrusted rather a lot with important missions and important things to do, like when he's turning on the power generator on Cybertron and he sets off the fire alarm. Or the intruder alarm, I can't quite remember. Obviously, Grimlock in Series 3 has one notable entrance to the Transformers when he gets the new brain and builds the Technobots. Yeah, I'm still very dubious about that episode, but there's a lot in Series 3 that's to be dubious about. The Dinobots aren't really seen again after Series 3. They don't make it into the Rebirth at all. Probably because of the way that they're received, the way they perceive Grimlock. And Grimlock it's even in the movie, Grimlock is this stupid thing that has to be led everywhere round by the nose. And they're not seen again. In the Takara Headmasters edition, the leader of the robot train gets called Grimlock. So, in Robots in Disguise, Grimlock is one of the build team. Grimlock, the Dinobot, does carry on into the comics and has quite a lot of important storylines within the comics. Very often they do go along the lines of Grimlock's not happy with Optimus Prime, Grimlock buggers off, takes the Dinobots with him, causes a bit of random destruction, then comes back all contrite, or as contrite as Grimlock ever is. In the comics, the Dinobots aren't stupid. They have the same amount of intelligence as the other Autobots do, as their Autobot counterparts do. And Grimlock and the Dinobots themselves have several storylines. Most importantly, though, Grimlock eventually becomes the leader of the Autobots. And at this stage of the comics, there's a lot of independent little bits. You've got a group of Autobots here, you've got a group of Autobots there, you've got a group of Autobots over there. And Grimlock eventually becomes the overall leader of the Autobots. This is after Prime's gone. Before Prime comes back. Yeah. Grimlock becomes the leader of the Autobots. However, a lot of Grimlock's personality that is in the cartoons, as in this big lumbering, I want to smash something, stays true to the fore. And Grimlock is definitely the most brutal and merciless Autobot leader you'll ever meet. He has no problems getting humans getting killed in the way, along the way, because he sees them as weak. He sees them as inferior to himself. Very different to what the likes of Prime did, where Prime believed that the Autobots should be saved. Grimlock is eventually dethroned as leader of the Autobots, and I think it's by Blaster. I think it's Blaster who eventually turns around and says, enough is enough, fuck off. And Grimlock does fuck off. But he actually builds up his own little army of humans. Grimlock didn't like the idea of having total power taken away from him like that, so he builds up his army of die-hard humans. And they come into it, in particular into the novel Hardwired. The storyline of the Dinobots in the G1 continues right the way up to the Binaltech series. And Grimlock, of course, gets an alternator format through the Binaltech and the alternator storylines. And I've given him the sword from Jazz as well as a sword from himself, because I think Grimlock deserves two big glowy swords. But there we go. Sorry, he's very dusty. And with the alternators and Binaltech storyline, the Dinobots end up getting infected by the Hate Plague, the thing that caused them all to turn red and start killing each other in the Return of Optimus Prime episode. And it's actually done to the point where the Autobots are forced to kill the Dinobots, or at least severely take them out of commission. Grimlock feels very guilty about this, and appeals to Jazz to bring him back. So Jazz does. Wheeljack, giving him the same format, and it's Wheeljack's sword as well, just in case I said Jazz, giving him the same format as Wheeljack himself in the form of a Mustang, but he does have a very Grimlock-inspired, Grimlock-esque face. So the Dinobots are very much there from the very beginning, and they keep going through and through and through. Onto the toy range of the original Grimlock, and the toy range for the Dinobots was very, very different to what had gone before. They were the first of they were the first toy range to pretty much be all plastic, and they came with these features such as see-through plastic. I don't know if you can see in there. Hang on, let me get his arm out of the way. So I'm doing this. There we go. To become see-through, to be completely in some places see-through plastic. They were also some of the largest standalone toys, not regarding the Jessel Combiner's chess pieces. They were some of the largest of all the Transformer toys, in the same way that they were the largest in the cartoons. And the Dinobots again weren't originally designed for the Transformers. They were part of a different toy line. I'm not entirely sure if they were Diaclone. They may have actually been for a different series. They are some of the nicest Transformer toys you will find out there. I'm just going to transform Grimlock for you now. Right. One of the things I noticed about the toys in themselves is that, and it's not just it's true just not just for Grimlock, it's true for the other Dinobots as well, except for Swoop, in that they're very back heavy, because a lot of their body parts fold back like this. And then you push that bit up there, and you push his legs in to give you his hands. My toy is a bit wobbly. I will say firstly as well, thanks to Steve off YouTube. I think on YouTube your name is Mushman. I should have checked this before I did the video actually. Your name is Mushman. Thank you very much. You gave me Grimlock and Slag, so I will thank you in the other Dinobot video as well. Got them for a very, very nice price, and they're in fantastic condition. Fantastic condition. Well, as fantastic a condition as you can expect for a 20-year-old toy. And here we see Grimlock transform from his T-Rex mode into his robot mode. The head, very similar to his head in the cartoon. In fact, the whole body part is very, very similar. Hasbro seemed to go for we're going to make them look as close to the cartoon as we can. My Grimlock doesn't like to stand up very well. You've got to spread the legs a bit. And I think, as I said, it's because he's back heavy. Well, actually, in robot mode, he'd be top heavy. He does have a tendency to fall over. The Dinobot toys came with swords and guns, though in the cartoons, apart from Snarl, the Dinobots never used their swords. They never used their swords. The plastics seem to be of a slightly different material to the normal plastics that we use for transforming toys, and as I said, it's probably because they were part of a different toy range. They weren't designed specifically for originally Transformers. No metal on them. Instead they've gone for the make it look like metal by giving it a chromed, golden, shiny look. Very nice toys. Dinobots aren't the cheapest toys you'll find on eBay. I got very lucky with mine. I think the most expensive one I bought was Swoop. And Swoop was £43, including post and packaging. And he was the most expensive one I bought. But if you're going for buy it now, to find the Dinobots complete, you'll find they are very expensive to come across. But the Dinobots are part of the G1 toy range that any Transformers collector cannot be without. You have to have as many as Dinobots as you could feasibly fit in, and you have to have Grimlock. Grimlock is, he's like an Optimus Prime. The collection wouldn't be complete without an Optimus Prime. He has a Classics mode, and it's virtually identical to his G1 toy, but I don't have the Classics one yet. The only one in the Classics range I don't actually have. So I will have to pick that up. I might pick that up actually before the end of the month if I can. If you can get, at least with Grimlock, if you can get him, get him. Very nice toy, and definitely part of the G1 collection. Okay, that's Grimlock done. I will be back hopefully this evening with a second video if I can, but it's not going to be on the Dinobots. I'm going to save the other Dinobot review for the other 4 Dinobots. I've got something else planned, which you'll just have to wait and see for. But that's Grimlock done. There's not really much more I can add on him. I don't think I've waffled too much in this one either for once. But this is Silverbolt with Grimlock, signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.